would have thunk it? Cincinnati Bengals go into the bye week with a 4-7 record. 6 of those 7 losses by a touchdown or less. 7-point defeat, the most recent one, the LA Chargers. They have lost football games, the opener by 6 points. They lose a game by a point, 5 points, 3 points, 1 point, now 7 points. 6 losses by a total of 23 points. It's a pretty good sample size. It's not a blip on the screen, to say the least. When you're a team that is a playoff caliber team, you're going to be in a lot of one-score games. There's no doubt. I remember Super Bowl season I played in, we had to win a lot of one-score games. It's just the nature of the beast in the National Football League. When you're having a good season and you're getting into the playoffs, you're winning 60, 65% of those football games. The Cincinnati Bengals are certainly not doing that. I mean, they are losing close football games, not figuring out a way, finding a way to close football games. And they've got the talent to do it. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Offensively, it is crazy. In 5 of the 6 losses, the Bengals offense scored 27, 34, 25, 33, 38, and 33 points. That's 157 points in 5 games, averaging 31.4 points per game, and lost all 5 of them. I mean, the defense has allowed 34 or more points in 5 games, lost all of them. It's incredible. When you're averaging over 30 points a game, you figure you're going to win at least half of those games. To go over, it is absolutely nuts. Here's a stat for you, or here's some information for you that'll shed some light. We talked about the season that Joe Burrow is having, and you can't waste it. And the Bengals are definitely wasting it. Through the first 11 games this season, Joe Burrow has 3,028 yards passing, 27 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Ridiculous numbers. Players to achieve 3,000 passing yards, 27 or more touchdowns, 5 or fewer interceptions through their first 11 games. The quarterbacks that have done it, Tom Brady did it twice. In 2007, the Patriots had an undefeated 16-0 season. In 2015, they went 13-3 when he did this in 11 games, like Joe Burrow has just done. Aaron Rodgers, in 2011, he went 15-1, the Green Bay Packers. 2020, he went 13-3. When he has got the numbers that Joe Burrow has in the first 11 games of those seasons. Patrick Mahomes in 2020 did it in 11 games, those numbers. He went 14-2. Drew Brees in 2018 did it. He went 13-3. Joe Burrow's season, like we talked about, is being wasted. He's having an incredible year. Incredible. How about his number 1 target, Jamar Chase? Already has over 1,000 yards receiving. He's got 12 touchdowns. It's absolutely nuts. I mean, he's put up numbers that wide receivers would take for a season in 11 games. Offensively, the productivity has been there. Defensively, it just hasn't happened for him. And the last 2 games, first half played very well a couple of weeks ago. Second half, not so much. First half in this football game against the Chargers got destroyed. I mean, it's brutal in the first half of the football game. Second half, they played very well up until the last drive of the game. But I mean, the Bengals are losing this football game 24-6 in the first half, 24 points allowed. Explosive plays. Bengals offense had 8 of them. I mean, Joe Burrow was finding different people and getting explosive plays to a good number of them. Those 8 explosive plays pales in comparison to the 11 that they gave up to the Chargers. In the first quarter, calling them chunks, 20-yard chunk plays. The first quarter, they had 3 of them. 1 run, 2 passes of over 20 yards. One of them was a touchdown pass. In the second quarter, they had 5 plays of 20 yards or more in the second quarter alone. 1 run, 4 pass plays of over 20 yards. Third quarter, they come out, I guess, talk it over at halftime and decide, to make some adjustments and execute probably better, obviously, than they did. No explosive plays in the third quarter. I mean, they shut him down. And again, in the fourth quarter, up until the final 20 seconds, the last 20 seconds, the Chargers had the football. 3 explosive plays in 20 seconds. A 28-yard pass, a 27-yard pass, a 29-yard run for a touchdown, ball game. That's hard to do. That's really hard to do. And gave up 11 plays for the game of 20 yards or more. I mean, it's mind-boggling, really. And then, of course, Money Mac. I know everybody's disappointed and upset with Money Mac. I mean, he's already got 6 misses this season. The Bengals decided to give him the contract, not Jamar Chase, not T. Higgins. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are playing for a contract, and they're playing well. I mean, Jamar Chase it's cha-ching every week that he puts up numbers. He's expanding his horizons at his bank. There's no doubt about that. And then T. Higgins, he comes back from injury. I mean, he's got a very, very, difficult quadricep issue. And somehow through it all, he stayed in good enough shape to take over 60 snaps in this football game. And he's targeted 13 times, has 9 receptions, 148 yards, and a touchdown. That 42-yard touchdown was a thing of beauty. He'd been hurting them with slants. So they say, hey, slant and go. It's time. 4th and 2. Gutsy. Slant, go, touchdown. 42 yards. Over. One of the touchdown passes to Jamar Chase was great between Burrow and Chase. I mean, Burrow's extending, creating, and he's directing traffic. Jamar, bring it back across the back line of the end. I'll hit you. I mean, just hand signals, eye contact, whatever. Those guys are on the same page. To watch them execute during the course of a football game, not only the called play, but when the called play doesn't work because of pressure or coverage or whatever, when Joe Burrow extends and creates, Jamar Chase, mental telepathy is on the same page. I mean, he knows what Joe's looking for. And those guys make so many plays on that second play that created that extended play. So the Bengals, I mean, to come back from down 18 at the half and to come back as quickly as they did, it was a Charles Dickens special in just about every way you can think about it. How about Herbert at quarterback? I mean, the first quarter, he's 3 for 3. He completes his first 7 passes. He's 7 for 7 in the first half. He goes 10 for 14 in the half, 183 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. But man, I mean, so in the first half, he was 7 for 7. And then he finishes 3 for 7 to finish the half. Then in the second half, he goes 7 for 22. So, I mean, 3 for 7. He was 10 for 29 to finish the football game after starting 7 for 7. So you talk about a guy that was hot as a firecracker and then cooled off. I mean, he had 114 yards passing in the second half, no touchdowns. He killed him with his feet as well. I mean, he had a 20-yard run and a 30-yard run. He had 65 yards on 5 carries, averaged 13 yards a pop. I mean, this kid is 6'4", pushing 240, strong, physical, got unbelievably extreme arm talent. Jim Harbaugh has said he could play edge rush for me. He could play tight end for me. This guy is gifted. It's unbelievable to watch him play football. But how about tale of two halves as far as football teams go? In the first half, the Cincinnati Bengals, they punt the ball in their first possession. And then their next 2 possessions, they settle for field goals. And that was difficult because the LA Chargers, we know what they were like in the red zone. Going into the football game, their red zone numbers were off the charts. They'd only allowed people in the red zone 18 times and only given up 7 touchdowns. Both of those best in the National Football League. First 2 times the Bengals get in there, Chargers make 4-point plays inside the low red zone. Both times are inside the 10-yard line. can't score a touchdown. So that's now 20 possessions, only 7 touchdowns allowed, 35% touchdown percentage conversion after those first 2 possessions for the Cincinnati Bengals when they didn't score in the red zone. I mean, that's significant. That's a big deal. There's no doubt. So they settle for field goals in those 2 drives. And then the last 2 drives of the first half, 2 3-and-outs. Then they start the second half with another 3-and-out. They have 3 straight 3-and-out possessions. And then they go on the tear in the second half. 11-play, 67-yard touchdown, 50-yard touchdown. That was Jamar Chase's on fourth down for that touchdown. 7 plays, 81 yards, touchdown. And then the next 2 drives, 2 missed field goals by Money Mac. But they drive the football, get themselves in range. A 47 and 51-yarder. In today's football, those are ones that need to be made. Those are ones that you have to make to win football games. Didn't get it done. So, I mean, Bengals in that third quarter into the early fourth quarter, they were a machine. I mean, they scored 2 touchdowns so quickly to make it a game in that third quarter. They got right back in it. It was unbelievable to watch. While that was going on, here's the Chargers numbers. Their first possessions are 3-and-out. And then they score on 3 straight possessions, score touchdowns. 5 plays, 70 yards. 4 plays, 71 yards. I mean, gashing them. Bang, bang. Big plays we talked about, explosives. 9 plays, 64-yard touchdown. And then they kick a field goal. So at halftime, they get 24 points on the board. They come back out in the second half. Bengals 3-and-out. Bengals hold them to a field goal. Another 3-and-out. So 3 possessions in the second quarter, 2 are 3-and-outs, and 1's a field goal. Then the first possession in the fourth quarter, they fumble the football. I mean, defense is playing great. Then they punt on the next possession. Then 2 more 3-and-outs for the Bengals. I mean, Money Mac misses a field goal. Defense says, we got you. Punt the ball back, drive down again, miss another field goal. I mean, they were trying to play complementary football, and the first half was non-complementary, and the second half was complementary for a good part of it until that very last possession. 4 plays, 84-yard touchdown. We talked about the 3 explosive plays out of those 4 snaps on that drive. In the fourth quarter, the Bengals possessed the ball for 11 minutes and 19 seconds to only 3 minutes and 41 seconds for the Chargers. But they only needed 20 seconds to do the damage, score that touchdown to win the game. Going into that football game, the LA Chargers defense giving up 13.1 points a game. Bengals hung 24 on them. 27, I should say. The Bengals hang 27 points on them. Thing is, though, the Chargers, they had not scored more than 27 points all season long. They have their highest scoring game of the season. Their defense is struggling in the second half, particular against the Cincinnati Bengals. Offensively, they figure out a way to get it done. They score their most points of the season. That's what teams that are trying to make the playoffs do. It's complementary football. Whatever has to be done to win close football games, they do it. The Bengals, I mean, honestly, in the first and third quarter, the Chargers had not given up points. It's amazing. In the first quarter, they allowed 16 points on the season, 1 touchdown, 2 field goals. In the third quarter, they'd only given up 5 field goals all year long. In 9 football games, they had allowed 15 points. The Bengals hung 14 on them in the third quarter. They'd only given up 15 in 9 games prior. I mean, there are a lot of reasons the Cincinnati Bengals could have and should have won this football game, but the LA Chargers said, "Nah, baby, nah. We're gonna finish." Harbaugh has basically got them believing they are a confident football team. They feel like they're better conditioned than anybody in the National Football League. That's going to pay dividends at the end of football games when you have to close out close football games, and that's what it takes in the National Football League. And they believe in all of that. They believe in what Jim Harbaugh is preaching, and he preaches it with energy and enthusiasm. They are all in. They have bought in. There's no doubt. So now, Cincinnati Bengals, well, that was a great flight back. We get in about, 6:30, 6:45 a.m. That was great. The red eye back from L.A. after losing that football game. the Bengals find themselves in a 4-7 situation with 6 games left to play after the bye. Bye week, got to get themselves mentally and physically ready. I mean, it's going to be 6 games left, 3 of them are division opponents. They start right away with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And look at how the Pittsburgh Steelers are playing. You talk about winning close football games. They've won 2 different games now without scoring a touchdown. 6 field goals. 18 points has been enough for them to win 2 football games. How do you win a football game in the NFL without scoring a touchdown? They've done it twice. Man, their kicker is heading right to the Pro Bowl. I think he's, 24 for 25 or something stupid like that in terms of kicking field goals. So Money Mac had better step up, because if it comes down to a last-second field goal, Pittsburgh has enjoyed more success in that regard than the Bengals have. So you got to get yourself ready, because a Mike Tomlin team, if we think that the LA Chargers were physical, that the LA Chargers are tough-minded, the LA Chargers play tough defense, the LA Chargers run the football, the LA Chargers play old-school football at Jim Harbaugh, Mike Tomlin is that in spades. So got to be ready to get yourself up for a physical matchup. And then, of course, Russell Wilson with his moon balls and the deep ball that he can throw is a nice compliment to getting that running game going. So the Bengals are going to have their hands full. There's no question about it. And you take it, again, 1 game at a time. 6 games left, 3 of them division games. If you can make a run, and if you're on the table, you still got a great shot, obviously. I think honestly, the way the conference is unfolding now, there's a good chance a 9-win football team is going to get in. I think that more and more as each week progresses, because, not only did the Bengals lose, but teams that they were hoping might lose this past weekend didn't. So the Bengals dug themselves a deeper hole in that regard. Maybe they can make a rally like they did when they were down 18 at the first half of this football game to come back to tie. Maybe they can make a rally and have it come down to the last week or 2 of the season. Go ahead and win 4 in a row after the bye. They are totally capable of that if their defense just plays to the mid-level in the National Football League. Offensively, the way they're playing, man, they're going to put a scare in everybody. There's no doubt about it. Nobody wants to play that Cincinnati Bengals offense led by Joe Burrow right now. No defense wants to do that. The LA Chargers were riding high. The Bengals humbled them a little bit, but the Chargers still came over with the victory. That's what playoff teams do. Right now, the Cincinnati Bengals are not a playoff team. Dave Lapham here, and every day I am grateful for my experience to have played professional football. As a player, I realized self-motivation, leadership, and appreciating your teammates are key. At First Star Logistics, you can use those same attributes to create the life you want for you and your family. Build your future by working hard like I did. You'll see results both on and off the field. Call First Star Logistics today and be part of our winning team. Opportunity knocking.